Hi, we're gonna start our Thanksgiving side dishes today. It's about 2 weeks out from Thanksgiving, and I wanted to give you guys some options for some low-carb side dishes. Some of these are truly low-carb and keto, others are just gonna be better, healthier choices. I realize on Thanksgiving we may have a meal that we have a couple bites of other things, and we may also be feeding family members that are not low carb or keto, so we want to have something that makes everyone happy. So this first one is going to be the biggest changer that I found. This is a low carb stuffing. I made this last year for my family, and we really enjoyed it and did not miss the bread stuffing at all. So this stuffing has no bread in it. I have done the low carb keto bread. I'm just not a fan. It's not the same. But we're going to take all the same elements of the stuffing, and we're going to put those flavors together and give you something really wonderful. I will tell you, this is best if made a day ahead. Just it's sitting in the refrigerator and then heat up the next day. It gives it a chance to kind of those flavors marry, and it really is one of those things that's better the next day. So if you're having Thanksgiving dinner and trying to figure out how to do it all in one day, this is definitely one you can do a day ahead. So I've already kind of got started here. What I have here, this is just ground turkey sausage. You can also use chicken sausage. When I went to the store, they just happened to have the mild Italian turkey sausage. So that's what I bought. You could also use pork sausage. We don't eat pork, so I'm gonna try to keep it lower fat. We do a low fat keto, but that's already browned. To that, I'm going to add, I've got my onion and my celery diced up here. So we're gonna add this to just right to the sausage. And we're gonna do like we did the other day, if you watched our other videos, and we're gonna let these sweat, which means we don't want them to brown, and we want them to become translucent. So I've got our heat on about medium, 1 over medium. I cook on an induction range, so you may have to adjust that for your range. It may be medium low on your range, depending on how hot your range runs. So I'm just stirring that up. That's all it looks like, okay? And we're gonna let that sit and simmer. I'm gonna stir that every now and then. And then I'm going to, while we're waiting on that, I'm going to cut up, these are portobello mushrooms. I typically go ahead and buy the ones that are already sliced so that they're really quick. However, for this recipe, I don't want the big slices. I really don't want it to look like mushrooms, and I'm just going to kind of do a rough chop. Nothing fancy here. This is a great thing if you have preteens or whatever that maybe can handle a sharp knife. Give them something to do. It certainly doesn't have to be done perfect or in any way. We just don't want it to look like sliced mushrooms anymore. We just kind of want the chunks, because as this onions and celery, once it gets in, we're going to add this into it. We're going to put some spices and a little bit of wine and some broth, and it is going to be just so tasty. We ate this as leftovers, and honestly, last year I preferred this over the actual turkey. When I had my leftovers, this is usually what I had. So I'm just kind of continuing to stir this over here a little bit. I did put a small amount of avocado oil in the pan to brown this turkey sausage, because it tends to be very low fat. If you're using a pork sausage, you may find that you actually have to drain it before you add your celery and onions, because it could be greasy, and you don't want it to be greasy. So we want to kind of get rid of that. So as you can just kind of see here, this is just a rough chop rather. Nothing fancy to this. I've also got a couple things going. I've got a 1/3 cup of hot water in here, and to that I have already added, you can see it's been put in here to melt. This is our Better Than Bouillon, and this is the veggie one. I've been using this a lot lately. It just happens to be what I have, and I've really been enjoying the taste of it. We're only doing a 1/3 cup because we do not want to add a lot of liquid to this. We want to add flavor though. So we're going to do 1 teaspoon of the Better Than Bouillon to 1/3 cup of the water. That'll just give us enough to flavor it. And then I also have ready to go in, when we add these mushrooms, about a 1/2 cup of white wine. That we're going to put that, as well as some spices we have going here. I do also have, the other thing we're going to add is 1 package of rice cauliflower, and this is the already cooked. You can see it. The reason I like this, it's already cooked, is it's cooked, but it already has the moisture removed from it. So if you decide you wanted to make this and you wanted to use a fresh head of cauliflower or use the frozen or refrigerated fresh cauliflower, you certainly could do that. I would want you to steam that first, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put it in a strainer and then put some cheesecloth or a dish towel on it and just squeeze it and get the moisture out, because otherwise the moisture from that cauliflower in this type of dish where we're not wanting a whole lot of liquid, because again, there's no bread in this to absorb it. If we were doing a bread, so right now, this is a pretty traditional way to start stuffing if you've not made it before. This is a pretty traditional sausage stuffing. I have my sausage, my onions, and my celery. To this, I'm going to go ahead and add these mushrooms that we've rough chopped. This can easily be doubled. And when you double it, you don't have to increase the celery, or not the celery, the sausage. If you wanted to make this vegan, you absolutely could. I would just double the portobello mushrooms. The one thing I like about portobellos, they're used by a lot of vegans and vegetarians, not just for their nutritional benefits, but also they kind of have a more meatier kind of flavor to that. And I'm going to go ahead, this is kind of dry, don't want this to be too dry. We're going to add that 1/3 of a cup of our broth there, and we're going to add our wine, okay? I'm going to take you guys back over to see what this is. So I've just added that in here, and then I'm just stirring this up. So we've just got that little bit of liquid here, and we want to kind of stir it good because we want the liquid to really kind of meld and merge with all the mushrooms that are in here. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to do a little bit of poultry seasoning. So this is just generic poultry seasoning, just a little bit of that. I'm going to do just a little bit of thyme. Again, this is thyme. You can smell it's really smelling good. Sage is a big one. Again, just a little bit of that, probably a 1/2 teaspoon. This looks like a lot more than it is. It comes out really fine. And then just a little bit of rosemary. Okay. Again, it probably looks like I'm putting more in than I am because not very much comes out at once. So be kind of easy on those spices. And I will tell you, it already smells like Thanksgiving in here with these spices, with that celery and onion and that turkey sausage cooking. Okay. And we're just going to kind of, and I'm going to go ahead and add this rice cauliflower. Now, if you wanted to double what you're making or not have the meat because you want to do a vegan dish, maybe you have some vegetarians that are going to be at your dinner. Not everybody is, but you want to kind of accommodate some people. Maybe this would be a great dish to do that. Again, just omit the turkey sausage. I would double your portobello mushrooms, and then I would also double the cauliflower. Okay. So this is really, at this point now, I've just kind of stirred this all in. And now literally what we're going to do is we're going to turn this down on low. And I'm going to put a lid on it, and we're going to let it cook 30-40 minutes on low and just let all those flavors melt together. And I'll come back and show you what it's going to look like when it's done. Okay, and here is our stuffing. We've let that reduce, and it is just beautiful. It tastes really yummy. I do recommend making this one a day ahead. Certainly you can make it the day of if that's how your schedule permits. I like to make it a day ahead. It does really taste better overnight, and then heat it back up. I put it in a glass pan like this, and any broth that's left over, I would try to cook it down so there's not a lot of broth, but you do not want to let it cook down dry. And whatever broth is left, I mean, you can kind of see it, but about 1 finger high in here is my broth that's on this, and that's what I would go ahead and put inside here. So anyway, this will be a great replacement for your stuffing. It's got all the flavors, really. The onion and the celery and the mushrooms just really pick up all those flavors. Again, if you don't want to do the meat and you want to do just a total vegan stuffing or Or if you do like the sausage, you could also do pork instead of the turkey sausage or chicken sausage. Just make it your own. If you don't like the cauliflower, double the mushrooms. Just keep all the spices consistent, because that's going to be your biggest key to the flavors. But just experiment and try to enjoy your day. That start with healthy eating.